Hello, everyone. Welcome to Girls Runs These Worlds, a channel dedicated to women and femme-presenting individuals here in the tabletop space, creating and telling stories for you, for us, for everyone who enjoys them. That is us, and we are here. And we are about to do the finale of our story through the Brambles, which is played in the system Babes in the Woods by World Champ Games. Very fitting for the fall season, very Halloweeny. If you haven't been watching us, well, you'll have to go back to the earlier VODs because you must. But let's go around our table here and introduce our players and their characters, starting with Meadow.
Howdy, darlings. I'm Meadow, she, they pronouns. Very excited to be here playing Trinket tonight, the toy.
Yay! Thank you. Let's go to Yuri.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yudi. That is at Yudi and the Beast absolutely everywhere. And today I'm going to be playing Robin, the big kid.
Yay! Thank you. Let's do Rosie.
Hi, I'm Rosie, Sweet Rosie B, just about everywhere on the internet, she, they pronouns. Today I am playing Chris, Chrysanthemum, Chris, Mum, a bunch of different names for one little flower woods child.
Indeed. All right. Thank you very much. And finally, Incha.
Hi everybody, I'm Insha. I'm at Instagram with two eyes on Instagram and Night of the Fits on Twitter. And I am going to be playing our little kid Moth. Ah,
Bestie!
my bestie.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. And I guess I need to introduce myself as our narrator. I am Natalie, she, they, most places on the internet with Ghost Candle. Might have a slight lisp because I'm wearing teeth. My makeup has nothing to do with tonight. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. But with all of that out of the way and us introduced, let's draw it back into our story where we have left off. So our kids had just been escorted down the road by a wolf man, sort of lumberjack individual who has seen them off to a path that leads alongside a river where our kids were told that a ferry would come to a dock nearby and they can hop on if they have any treasures or services to trade and hopefully get away from the dangers that continue to follow them in their shadows. The afternoon light is starting to dim. There is a mist on that rolling water of the cool evening air coming in, meeting the warm, sun kissed water. Just creating this blanket of white kind of glistening on the water surface. Our kids see before them, just a little bit down the path, is a wooden dock that stretches out into the river. It's fairly well kept. It doesn't look like it's rickety or it's been abandoned or anything. It seems like it's been serviced and has been used frequently. Um, there is a bench on one side of it, maybe enough to fit three people, but you're all fairly small children, most of you. So y'all could probably plant your butts down on it. And there is one tall post with sort of a curled little hook on the top and a lantern that's sort of swaying back and forth from it. You do catch a bit of frost glistening on the glass. There is still that skirting of the frost along the leaves and grasses on the side of the path, both against the river and against the wood. The brilliance of reds and golden yellows have already begun to sort of fade out into deeper earthy browns as leaves have mostly started to fall away from the trees and blanketing the earth underneath it, providing shelter for any little bugs or critters and roots so they can be warm for the coming winter. But you all approach the dock, and for our wood move, we only have one kid who hasn't rolled it, which is Moth.
Okay.
So you're 2d6 plus fear minus hope.
Oh, okay. That is a 12
Oh, a
for
12.
just like overall roll. I don't have any fear ticked off. But I have 4 hope. So how's that? Do me.
I will bend the rules a little bit because you would be out of the game with this roll. You would be done. You'd be like, "Yay, I'm home."
My bad.
Moth disappears.
Yeah, you just hear a happy little song. Moth is gone.
No, send me back.
So in this case, a 10 plus would typically you get a distraction. So I will leave that up to Moth. What pleasant distraction do you want that would attract you and maybe the others near the dock?
Ooh, I think. I think Moth might use. Honestly, it's gonna have to be Samantha because Samantha is like just a traveling, a going at her own speed, doing her own thing. She'd probably nudge Chris and like look at them and go, "Look at Samantha." Like she's like because like Samantha's like probably trying to like Moth wants so badly to scoop up some of the leaves too and like use them for Samantha. Um, Probably goes up to Chris and Robin and Trinket and goes, do you think that we can like use some leaves as a bed for Samantha? Because like what if she gets cold? We don't want her to get cold. We're already cold. But what if she gets cold? They don't want her to get cold.
I think that might be a good idea.
Okay. Can all of you stuff leaves in your pockets so that we have enough for Samantha when we like go and travel?
Sure,
Thank
darling.
you.
Of course I can.
Thank you.
I guess.
Thank you. I like and then like kind of like looks at Samantha and is like, see, Samantha, everybody's helping, and then we'll be home, and then you'll like we can use the leaves in order to make you a home when we get home. Does that sound nice? Yay, good. I hope you said yes.
Docs go in and out. So y'all begin gathering what leaves you can, and there's still a number that are like only freshly fallen, haven't been really touched by the frost, still have a bit of crispness to it. Crispness. Gotta enunciate now with these teeth in. We're not in that season yet. And yeah, you get like all together. If you were to throw it, I got a fair amount to create a nice thick bed for Samantha.
Kind of like puts Samantha down and goes, okay, don't go anywhere. I know you probably will. I know. But yeah, but I have some more of this for you. And then puts down some of the hay from before so that she can eat, but then also be like, yeah, there you go. And just kind of looks and just watches her, but then like looks at Chris and goes, okay, she's eating. This is
It's fascinating because you all are so built differently from the snail. I am built so differently from you. We all eat in such interesting ways.
Yeah, she kind of like nibbles as we like bite, and then you like do this.
I do not bite.
You don't bite, which is good.
Good.
Can you try? Wait, try. And then like she just sticks out her arm.
It just feels like two like stems, sort of.
Oh,
it doesn't hurt. Yeah,
that's pleasant, actually. In a good way. Yeah, don't want to do that anymore. Please stop.
I don't need to do that for nutrition, so I won't do that anymore.
Well, when you get to meet Mom too, then they'll probably be like, "Hey, who's this?" And then I'll be like, "This is Chris, and Chris is my very best friend." And then we could get you like all of the nutritional stuff that like you'll ever eat because Mom's like really actually good at that. Like feeding us, which is really odd. Anyway, but that's not the point. But I'm excited. I'm excited for you to meet Mom.
I am so excited to meet. Is her name Mom or is she Mom or how does that work?
Well, I call her Mom. Robin.
Yeah.
What do we call Mom? What's her? Does she has a name, right? Like a name?
Yes, she has a name. The same way I'm Robin, but you call me Big Sister, like a title, you know?
So she's. I guess we could just call her mom when we get home.
Mom is the name and the title and the thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't bite
It's
mom.
you don't bite mom.
Okay.
Mom doesn't like to be bit. I tried it once. It was not good.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So the light, still fairly strong afternoon light, but it is getting into that early evening. And you're waiting quite a little bit. You feel a little grumblies. And you're just waiting on the dock, listening to the water rush by. In the distance, just down the road, you begin to hear something. And maybe it sounds like a low horn. It's very drone like at the beginning. But then you begin to hear a little bit of a beat, like just a bit of a rhythm to it. And you kind of look around, and when you look down the path, you then begin to really start hearing that almost jazzy hard music coming round the bend. And down the road, you're seeing a procession, just a parade. You're seeing lanterns and lights and people. But as the people get closer, you realize, oh, they're not just people, they're skeletons, and they're all dressed up in wild costumery. There's sort of a jazz band that's leading the way. One's on a saxophone, one's on a trumpet, there's trombone, and someone's just using their own skeleton ribcage to do the rhythm and get the beats. And the rest of the procession, there's women in big fancy ball gowns. There's some in more modern dress, like I guess like more like not quite t-shirts, but like very much metallic kind of dress wear, cocktail party wear, just an assortment of people across time in as skeletons, but wearing the celebratory fashions of their age. And they are hooting and hollering for what skeletons can do. Um, they shouldn't be able to do. They're skeletons. There's no organs. How do they do it? But I mean, even the trumpets, there's no air. How do they do it? And they're coming along, and they actually stop by the dock and look like they begin to line up behind where you are sitting. And one of the women, she has this big giant like ostrich feather that's more or less sort of taped to her head with like a little headband, and this like really almost Regency cocktail dress of sorts. She's like, oh, damn it, Waldo, I told you other people could make it before us. He's like, it's fine, there's only 4. And Waldo's the one on the saxophone up front. And he's like, heavens mercy, don't worry about it. They're just little children, it's fine. And they're all sort of chattering to each other, their jaws clacking against their teeth and teeth. And the front ones sort of look at you, the jazz band, and they give a courteous wave. And he's like, oh, I see you're coming on the ferry for skeleton night. That's great. You're all some of you seem a little fresh for it, but it's fine.
Skeleton night. Oh, well, isn't that lovely? Children, would you like to introduce yourselves?
You go first.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody go first.
Yeah, hi. I'm Robin.
Howdy.
Yeah.
I'm Moth. You're so cool.
Thank you.
I am Chris Chrysanthemum.
Hello.
And I am their astute guardian, Trinket. Very nice to meet you. I think your melodies are transcendent. It really gets the groove into one's spinal area. And she starts like dancing a little bit. I don't think she can help it. Like she's already up on tiptoes, but like she's got a little shuffle in her on point dance right now.
Oh, very nice, Miss Trinket. See, everybody loves jazz. Ain't that right, Connie? And he the saxophone player turns to the one he called Connie, who has the trumpet. He's like, of course everyone loves jazz. If they didn't, it'd be a shame. And then the saxophone player looks back to you all and is like, well, of course, introductions. You've already said yours. The band is me, Waldo, Connie on the trumpet, Floyd on the trombone, howdy, and Devin doing the rhythm there. And he's just like, hey.
I like Devin.
Are you the entertainment for Skeleton Night on the ship, on the cruise, on the ferry boat?
Oh, we're definitely bringing the entertainment, of course.
What happens on Skeleton Night? It's our first experience. I'd love to be prepared.
And that kind of whispers in the crowd behind, like, oh well, I mean, it's just a skeletons. Usually on the time when spirits start getting a little rowdy, at the sunset and the time of year, us skeletons like to pop out and celebrate, do a little skeleton dance, and we go on the ferry where the biggest extravaganza of it happens. Of course, it's because our captain to be is also a skeleton himself, so
That sounds
gotta bring
delightful. And I can't wait to revel with you and enjoy your sweet tunes, man.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And Floyd with the trombone is like, wah, wah.
Amazing.
I want to gauge the reaction loosely of our human kiddos when faced with
All
this.
right. Yeah, Moth and Robin, explain what you look like and any feeling that might be appearing on you.
Moth.
Moth is so excited, so unchill, so just wants to get on the skeleton better. She's just like, she literally looks up at her big sister and then just goes, Robin, Robin, Robin.
What?
We're getting on the skeleton boat, Robin. Robin.
Yeah, it appears so.
Robin
is like a little bit of like the opposite. There's like very clear apprehension in her face, because in a lot of like movies and stuff, like skeletons come out of the ground and like attack people and things, and she's seen entirely way too many movies. It's they don't seem bad, but like neither did the witch at first, right? And so I think at this point it's a little less so that they are skeletons and a lot more that there's so many of them. And it's just that kind of like she's just super like anxious. So it's like they seem nice, but that doesn't take away like all of her other anxiety she had about it. Yeah.
So we have two extremes with our two human kids. And yes, so far all the skeletons out of here seem extremely pleasant, extremely boisterous with celebration. One of them just has like piles of marigold flower, like trying to remember the right word, but they have like these rows of marigold flowers all knitted together, and they each pass you one. It's like, well, if you're going to come on the cruise, you gotta get in the spirit.
Quite.
Yeah. And there's one that's sort of dressed like, my best description is a skipper from Disney World's Jungle Cruise. And he was like trying to addressing some of the other people, like other skeletons in the party. He was like, all right, everyone, you know the rules. Don't go picking bones with anyone. And the skeleton's like, ha, ha. And sort of dressing them on like, get partying, but don't, break a bone on it. Now, Moth, you notice Samantha is no longer next to you.
Oh, God.
Of course it isn't. Why would it be there where we left her?
can I take a gander and just like see where she is? I'm gonna roll because
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Also,
snail's
can
gonna.
we tell?
that
Can we
is
tell
very
if it's like how deep the river is? Like, is it a big deep river? Is it like relatively
Taking
shallow?
a look, you know, at least like for your education, that for it to support a boat, it has to be deep enough for that at least. And you were told it was described as a ferry, not the ferry that Chris knows, but the ferry that you know for a ship. So you know it's at least should be deep enough for that. And between the mist and the water, it's hard to tell because it's not super clear. But it is really dark as you're sort of peering over the edge of the dock. And sorry,
All
what
right.
was your roll, Moth?
It was 7.
7. Or take a gander. Okay.
Samantha's in a tree.
So you do for sure see Samantha right away the second like you're like, oh, she's not right there. So just passed through the crowd, she was sort of snailing on through, slugging on through, and gets to just that edge of the road on the other side and is like munching up grass.
Oh, oh no. Moth immediately goes after Samantha and goes, wait. No, come back. Wait a minute. And then kind of like at the edge of the road, just like scoops Samantha up in her
Moth?
fingers.
Moth?
I'm sorry. What? No. We're gonna go back to the other thing that you said. What did you just say?
Moth?
No. You said my name. I heard that. That was a thing that you said. You said my name. What was that about?
Moth.
Oh, no.
And as you turn, you're suddenly 10, 15 feet deeper in the woods.
Oh hell no!
Can I find this child? Your Honor, can I find this child?
Take a gander.
Do we
As-
do we see? Hey, what?
Oh no!
And Moth, as you realize, you do feel the air get really cold, and you sort of hear a sing-song voice in a sort of beckoning tone, and sort of goes, "Come and taste the brambles with me. It takes but one to set you free."
I don't want that at all. Singing voice. That's a little bit strange.
It will feel just like a dream. No fears, no worries, no tears or screams.
And like you kind of see like Moth like almost curling into herself, legitimately drop Samantha because that's not cool at all. No, you're not gonna not talk now.
You got the
How
key.
dare you?
Absolutely not. And then like almost just look around and go like, who's there? Please show yourself. If you're super friendly, if you're not super friendly, then like you
You
can
see
still.
two specks of light in the distance in the darkness, and you're unsure if it's 50 feet away, 20 feet away, 10 feet away.
Hi, no thank you. And then she just kind of almost like tries to back herself up and like doesn't know what to like. She kind of feels like her throat closing because she's like, and like tries to look around and try to see if there's like anybody around. She's like, Trinket.
Yeah, how was your roll, Trinket?
So here's the thing. I got an
Mhm.
8. I take it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna use my wish. I'm gonna straight up use my wish to get a 12.
Okay.
So
Yep.
that I
Yep.
can like find this kid. Okay, great. No more wishes. Who needs them? So I would like to notice something dangerous that would be wise to avoid, I want to make sure I see those like lights, like the floating lights, because I think that would make me understand what's going on,
Yeah.
and that it's not just Moth kind of wandering. So I want that one to happen, and I want to see someone that could help me.
All right.
I got, oh god, oh no.
So you immediately, like, you realize Moth is no longer next to you, and then that instinct kicks in, and you're just immediately directed to that forest edge where you catch the slightest glimpse of the bandage that Moth is wearing as part of her outfit that's now sort of unraveled along the bushes into the woods. And close by, amongst the crew, this kind of celebration of skeletons, there is one that's dressed like a knight.
Great. This is not gonna go well for the world tour. I run over to the guy with the knight, the knight costume, and I want to rip the breastplate off of him.
Oh, my
where,
say.
and I'm like running, like I'm ripping it off, running as I'm like trying to seal it on myself, because I fully intend to body check a pair of fireflies at this point.
I'm going to describe how I'm seeing this tearing off because it's so funny in my head. You grab the plate and you go run and tear. And as you tear it, just these bones come tumbling cut from the floor. So like, oh,
I'm
oh,
so sorry.
Oh, goodness. Oof, we're rough.
Terribly sorry.
Oh no.
And so another skeleton's like, oh
No,
dear,
poor
you're really
man.
broken apart here. It starts.
Yeah, poor man has to like put himself back together like a Lego piece.
Oh,
He's
So
got
oh,
a
no.
bunch of friends who can help him. I'm busy.
Trinket's on a mission.
And yeah, you go like full like Terminator run into these woods following that little trail of bandage, and you see Moth there, which I'll leave to Moth to describe what she's acting in this moment. And you do see there's those pair of white eyes sort like just jittering and shifting in the distant dark. And I'll say, since you used your wish to make this roll, for the first time you're actually seeing within the shadows in the pitch dark of this, the even darker form of this entity. It's still unsure whether they are in the deep, being 50, 100 feet away, or only 20, 10 close. But you do see it as a very elongated, lanky individual. These sort of, it's not a still form at all. And it's not like a person swaying. There's parts that are just shifting and curling within the deep darkness. And you can't make out those shape. You just know there's movement, constant movement. And you can just hear like the ever subtle like splintering and snapping of something within that form. But that is even hard to hear with Moth sort of trying to get away from the situation.
I am calling for Moth very loudly, which I just think would alert Robin and Chris. Like I'm not bringing them with me. I'm not saying, "Hey, where's Moth?" I just like all of this happens in like 3 seconds. Like I notice something in the dark. I see the closest person to me rip his body apart to shield myself and take off running, screaming for Moth. So I think they'd hear that. But I have a question about special items in this game.
Yeah.
What is that?
So your special item, which every kid gets when they roll up their character, is the one item that will never break. So it's one you'll always have on you no matter what. Unlimited uses, and it gives you a +1 to your dice rolls.
It what? Okay. So what I would like to do is I spent my XP to unlock one of my toy moves. The toy move being, oh my god, what is it called? So sorry. It's where I can make a special item out of one of my parts. I'm not sure what it's called. Come apart at the seams.
Yes.
I don't have like a sword or something helpful. I have some other guy's torso shield, and I have me. And I'm running so hard that the porcelain of my body, even around the tar, is starting to splinter and crack again. And that does not matter to me. I want to reach behind me and pull out my wind up key and use it like a sword to, you
Ooh.
know, put myself in between Moth and whatever this thing is. Because I don't know how far it is, I can't say I'd take a swing at it, but I know I would put Moth behind me.
All right. So Moth, you watch as you hear the rush instantly behind you. You think for a second this entity, this fiend, is going to just enrapture, like completely encapsulate you. But then you see the flash of metallic next to you as you watch Trinket come up in front like a guardian over you.
Oh snap. And then like all I feel like Moth in that moment is like they're they're, they're not good at showing like their own real emotions, especially because like of the hardship that like she's had with her mom. So like it's like seeing this person who's in front of her who wants to protect her and like is literally in battle stance to protect her. She like almost starts like she like tears are coming down her face because she's like super scared. But I do have a question about my special item, because I hear me out. I
Mhm.
would like for Moth to put on her Invisible Man glasses that she could see in black and white and be
Ooh.
able to probably catch a glimpse of the fiend, if that helps, or if I can do that.
Yeah, you most certainly can. So putting on your glasses, you don't have to make a roll for this, but putting on your glasses, you now see just a little bit more than what even Trinket saw. You see this even darker, blacker form, and you now get the sense that it's actually slowly moving forward towards you two. And it's just like being very slow about it. You see the coiling vines and brambles sort of coming out from the base of it and spreading out along the ground, almost like that's acting as its feet to claw it forward. And every once in a while, you just get like something dislocating in its body before it sort of snaps back and continues to creep forward. Those eyes not even shifting with it, they're just sort of white dots there, maintaining within space. And it's just continuing forward. I was like, oh, but Moth, you wanted to stay in the woods.
I don't want that now, sir.
I changed my mind.
Actually, no.
Delete me from this narrative.
Thanks, but no thanks. I'm good.
But like Moth kind of like she's like trembling, and it's like the first time that like she's actually like really scared, but looks at Trinket and goes, we have to go, we have to go, it's getting closer, we have to go, we have to go, we have to go, and then like kind of almost pulls Trinket with her, like we have to go, 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 it's getting closer, we have to
Question.
go.
So I know that when I hear the fiend, it's in my head, but it just spoke to Moth. Did I hear that, or was that in Moth's head?
You heard it.
Oh, okay, great. I'm backing up with Moth behind me, and I say, God, what does Trinket say? She's shaking. Like you can probably hear like the clanking of the shield, like the armor against her porcelain skin. And she's like, You stay back! You cannot have these children. They probably have school or something very soon. And she's just like scooting back.
Oh, but who
Terrified.
needs school? Just spend time here.
You're a weirdo, mister, I don't like this. And then
No one is liking this conversation.
this is a really weird conversation that I don't want to have right now. Can we please
People,
go?
It's okay. You're fine.
It's not
They
really
have
fine. It's getting closer on
you.
the ground. I don't think you
I
can see
want 2 rolls from you two. From
Oh,
Trinket,
no.
you're going to do one from one of my move lists, which is a face-off with the fiend.
hard.
So it's 2d6 minus your fear. And for Moth, you get to do a scoot away roll as you are very much attempting to get away, which will be your
Ooh.
steam.
But God, but
So minus
Unless you
my
have another roll
fear.
you want to do.
I don't like I wouldn't want to do the role. Like even though it's kind of like cuz I don't want to leave Trinket. Like it's even though like I would want to stay and defend, but at the same time it's like I want Trinket and me to go, not just me go. Like I because I think like Moth just understands that like Trinket is doing her best to protect them, but like since Moth can like see it and know that it's creeping forward, it's like trying to give her best in order to be like we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go.
Then would you like to do a team up then?
Ooh.
Yes.
We should team
Immediately.
up.
Yes.
We're stronger together. We can do
Yes.
this, maybe.
So you get to describe how you help Trinket, and you get Trinket will get to add if you have 1 to 2 friendship towards them, which I believe you do. Trinket can
do.
re-roll one of the die, but she must take the new die.
I will do that because I have a 6 on one of my die. I got a 3 on the other. So I think it's worth it to try again.
Okay. So as you make that roll, Moth, how are you helping Trinket in this moment?
What weapons do you have, Trinket?
I have my massive like key sword,
Mhm.
and the other one's not really a weapon, but it's my other special item, the one I built into my character, my silver mirror. So it's like, could smack something, but I like it as a reflective thing. I don't want to break it, but I will. Like I totally will.
I think ooh, how to do this. I think oh no, I hate this because I feel like Moth doesn't know the sentimentality of the mirror, which sucks. But I think Moth would just grab it and try to swing as much as possible, but like do it from the back of it, like a
Yeah.
paddle, instead of doing it in the front, like a mirror, and then probably be like, "No, thank you. We don't want to stay here. This is not great anymore. I would like not to, and I don't want to eat the thing that you told me in the song either. That's weird. No, yay."
I'm very scared of the dice in my hand. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, it was the same number, so it's still a 3, but I'm glad it wasn't worse. So you take the mirror, and I think immediately like there's a instinct to snatch it away, but I don't think Trinket can take her eyes off of the fiend in front of her. I think she's like forcing herself to stay brave instead of following the sentimentality of like the things she's losing actively as she tries to protect these kids. So she feels like the mirror leave her side, and kind of like flinches. But I think if Moth starts to swing, she just jumps further in front and goes, why do you want them so badly? That you don't need them. The entirety of these woods is yours. What is wrong with you?
Chastising the fiend.
Yes.
And you just hear the low, almost ground rumbling cackle. And what was your roll total? Which
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
say,
yeah, yeah.
since you're using your items, you get a +1 as well.
Cool. Then
You get a
it
1 to
remains an 8 because I had to subtract my fear, then plus my 1. It's yeah, so that's 8 total.
Okay. So you get to do an exchange again.
I don't know if I want one.
I regret having a snail. I regret having a snail.
Okay, that one you can blame the dice because it said unruly pet.
It's true. That's true.
Well, while we're simmering on that for a second, let's check in on the other two where you just watched Trinket point blank stand up, rush a poor knight skeleton, and running off with his chess piece into the woods.
I feel like Robin, like her first instinct is to run after Trinket, but she looks back and Chris is there by themselves. She's not gonna leave Chris in the middle of like a horde of skeletons by themselves.
Which they're all now paying attention to the fallen knight and just trying to get him back together.
So she grabs Chris and just yanks them along.
Okay.
Good caller.
It's like, I don't know what you're probably looking at, like the skeletons piecing this man together again or something.
Yeah, Chris
very
cannot
interesting.
prioritize stimuli right now. There's so much happening.
And it's all weird and it's all stuff you've never seen before.
Right.
But yeah, so she takes a step because, you know, just like reaches out and then goes, just grabs you and
Okay.
yanks you along. So trying to run after Trinket. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. It doesn't take you long, and you also notice the bandage trail, which you're maybe like moth, and maybe that spurs you even more to go forward. And you do hear Trinket's voice come out challenging someone that's in there, something that's in there. And you're hearing the sort of the wide strings or swings of a metallic mirror, seeing just the glints of whatever light is able to penetrate, just bouncing off the mirror and the little latch, like the little turnkey, and the very solid, very much looks like a tower shield of armor piece with Trinket. And as the ones coming in now, you are seeing there is very much large brambles sort of circling and curling around the trees and the roots. And two eyes are sort of white and fixated in the air, shuddering and shifting. And now in your head, Trinket, no one else hears it.
Dang it, dang it, dang it.
Well, we've done this before. Something sentimental or some information. Oh, maybe I can make you sabotage something for me. Your choice.
Moss just like sees her shaking her head and goes, what did it say something? What did it say? Did it want something? What's happening? Please, we have to go. It's getting like bigger.
In the distance, we hear the sound of this like low kind of horn, just like
Oh, the train is, or the train, the ferry's coming. Okay, good. Okay, I hear this in my head, and I think the first time this happened, Trinket's immediate reaction was to tell none of the kids anything. And over the course of her trying to get them through the woods, mostly Moth, but also the other kids as well, have like encouraged her to open up and be more honest and like trust them. And so she says, it wants to make a deal with me so that I'll betray you and give you to this slinking mass of branches, this cowardly fallen log of a monster who preys on children through others because it's too weak to do anything itself. Robin the Lantern, and she's like starting to back fully up. What happens if I don't agree to these terms?
It is an interesting thing because if you reject the offer, there's a thing here. If you reject it, you just get a +1 fear.
Okay.
Yeah. Robin is inching forward And when she gets close enough to behind Moth, she'll grab Moth by
Yes.
the collar and just pull her
No,
so that
no,
she is
Get
so
ready.
that she's
Go.
with Chris. And I'm just gonna be like, Chris, don't take your eyes off of her, please. Here. And she's like handing a moth to you, literally.
Chris is
Uh,
watching this whole thing go down and being freshly new to the concept of fear and seeing
Mm.
present in all of their friends.
I I have a small question about the
Mhm.
two eyes things.
Mhm.
Um, if we're talking hear me out. If we're talking eyes, right? We're talking like eyes that we could do something with eyes like if I use my quill, then I can just like try to sharpshoot eyes to distract, and then I could just be like bye bye, like those kind of eyes, or is it like eyes like oh will pass right through me eyes?
Well, since
To
you're
a
wearing your
6-year-old, what's the
glasses,
difference?
um, um, your best guess is these are like weird glowing like circle orbs on
Okay.
this entity that seem to sort of just be shifting in your approximation of a face.
Okay.
Um,
Because
you can take the risk to try and throw the quill at it.
but
I
you are also getting yanked back. So
well, like wiggle and snatch, like Moth would wiggle and snatch her way out of the crypt. And actually, if I can, because I do have the moss, and the moss is like it covers, right? Like a little net. So
Mm.
I think what Moth wants to do is kind of like take out, like with her glasses on still, using all these items. I'm like, no, we are getting out of here. So um like keep on the glasses, but still step forward and like almost like run, like as Robin's pulling her back, kind of like twists like her little body, wiggles and gets in front of Trinket, and then just rose the moss in the fiend's like face so that they can't see.
All right. I'll say this is a cause mischief roll. I feel.
Oh, please. I beg of you. Be nice to me. Oh, also, I got the nice. Okay, I got a 12. If that
12. Okay, so things go according to plan. So, yeah, exactly. So, as Trinket is saying her words, you do hear like deep cracking of wood, like things splintering. And in your eyes, Moth, with the glasses on, you just see just things dislocate off and become long, spindly arms in the dark as it's sort of starting to rise up, reacting to what Trinket is saying. And just these coilings of arms linking out and creating new links and dislocating and reaching out, trying to almost in the widest hug ever to scoop you all in towards it. But you immediately come in and throw the moss in its face, and the troll magic glitters in this warm, glowing light of silvers, and just that fresh morning dew smell invigorates you as it expands out. And for at least this moment, the moss is kind of snatched up on it, and you see points of it sticking through, like jets of branch, something white, other parts just like now starting to wrap and claw to get the moss off, almost trying to bring it back into itself. But it's giving you a time to run.
Robin tackles Moth,
no,
straight up tackles Moth,
literally
and
probably
just
doing like
grabs her. Cause I'm twice her
I grab
age.
Chris. Yeah, I grab
Yeah,
Chris, and I start
uh,
running the other way.
yeah.
like as
But yeah, so Robin will tackle Moth and um and hand Trinket her mirror
Thank
because
you.
she doesn't want Moth to flail around with her and smack her in the head.
Yeah.
And she'll hand it off, and then she'll just as she's wrangling Moth under her, she'll just go like, "You don't have to do anything you don't want to. It can't make you. Come on, let's run."
I think we
And
can
she'll
do
just pick Moth up. Just yeah.
as soon as like Robin like picks Moth up, she just looks and like points to it and be like, "We're not through with you. I hope we are, but we're not through with you." And then
He's
like
just
goes
running with Moth.
Yeah.
literally
As you're like
like,
pointing at it, shouting, you are seeing like the moss is now like tearing, like it's tearing
Mm.
apart a piece of fabric. It's like,
"Okay, we gotta go. Bye."
Yeah, I'm making sure Chris gets to safety. I shift the like breastplate armor around to my back, so if anything gets thrown at me, I don't fall apart as I make sure Chris is directly in front of me. Like I want to like body shield Chris to make sure that nothing hurts it at all. And yeah, I'm running. Absolutely running.
right. So you all dart out of the woods immediately into the crowd of skeletons, which sort of like bowl over a little bit at the sudden reach of children coming into them. Again, the knight who is just getting finished playing back together is like, "I say," and tumbles back into a bone pile.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh
Actually,
my
yeah,
word!
I just here you are. It looks so much better on you, children. And I'm gonna like
Yeah.
take them
On
all
the
the way
boat.
to the back of the line. Just wait.
And the skeletons are still celebrating, other than like the ruckus of one of them being de-armored for the time. Uh, they're completely oblivious to what is going on, what you all are freaking about. They're just having a happy time. The jazz is strong and celebrating, and then everyone's dancing. It's all very good. And you see, ready coming into the dock is what almost looks like a pirate ship, if not for the giant ferry kind of paddle rotations on the side of it, sort of beckoning it forward, and a smokestack popping out of it. It's almost like a tall ship got repurposed into a riverboat ferry. And you see there's lights all stringed along the sides off the railings. The wood is very old and weathered, like it may have been drudged up from the very depths of the ocean, covered in barnacles along its sides. And on the deck, it is a little more repurposed to look like a ferry, to allow for guests and everything. You're seeing additional decorations and flowers, and you do catch sight of a skeleton in like a really big, audacious captain's hat with the giant feathers, who is shouting to his crew, uh, "Prepare to board, prepare to land, clear the way. Simon, prepare my eyebrows." And the ship starts coming in. The anchor, you hear it like turning and turning and plumping into the water as the ship comes to a setting stillness to allow the planks to drop down. You all anxiously are just constantly watching your backs, looking back to the woods. And the path where you came from and went through is no longer there. It's like you never passed through it, you never reached the boundary. But there is a noticeable darkness. There is this depth that you can't quite make out. You hear the low chirps of crickets that are now starting as the sun is getting ever closer to setting. And Robin, that lantern light is feeling very comforting right now. And you're just thinking of the den where you all came from, of the wolf pups and their mama and papa just being inside and making sure everyone is safe. Plunk. The deck is greeted by the boarding, and all the skeletons cheer, their bones clattering. And they're like, "Well, technically, these ones were first. I think they're all living. At least I think those three are living. But these ones
Yeah,
are first.
we
I
are.
think that one might have
Thank
been
you.
made of bones at one point."
Oh, you're so nice. Thank you so much. She grabs Moth and starts yanking towards the front. She's like doesn't care about being like polite. right now. She's like, "Oh, thank you for remembering. Oh, you're so nice." She's like, "Come on, let's go." But
I'm
she's
definitely
like
following Robin.
physically like she physically like she has a hand on Moth. Um and yeah, she's not going to not do that.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I want to check in on Chris because your experience, fear, having been not just facing whatever this quote unquote fiend is, that also seems to have a connection with nature, but in a dark way. But it's also so dark environmentally in there. And night is falling, and this is becoming such a dim vision for you.
I think, Chris, that was a lot in a very short period of time.
Mhm.
A lot of action. And this is a being of lazy afternoons in meadows and having been stagnant and having this sort of juxtaposition of everything that makes them what they are to we are moving all the time. There is this fear, there is this action, there is running, there is yelling, there is so much more than they can process at one point. And at the very back of their what would be a mind, a connection is starting to form, one that they don't quite have words yet for, but it feels important, especially with night coming and with how scared everyone is. That connection hasn't quite clicked yet for them, but it's on a back burner. So they're just kind of quiet as they process an immense amount of emotion and information and circumstance that they have never, this is so foreign to them. And they are basing a lot of their reactions on how everyone else is reacting. And skeletons, jury's still out on if those are scary or not, because some people seem really into it and others not. um, the fiend has been like the one thing that everyone has unanimously reacted to. In all other circumstances that they have been through with this group, Robin has been sort of like the grown up, and so is Trinket, and Moth has been very fun loving and optimistic. To have something unifying like that that is scary is a concept that Chris is struggling with. And again, there's sort of this back burner process going on that needs a little bit more information to have it come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
They're just quiet.
So you all board, Robin having rushed up first, bringing everyone in a train with her. And yeah, you are greeted. There's the captain there, and he's in like a bright red, kind of long trench coat, like captain's jacket, and of course the hat that you were able to see brilliantly from the shoreline. Um, I would say he's smiling, but skeletons always smile. So he gives a polite nod and bow, and he has a smaller skeleton with him, sort of in a vest blue, with overalls, in like a darker kind of gray denim. I'm like, all right, um, either you need coin or trade, or you have to provide service if you want on the ferry. Those are the three things. And he's holding up just two digits of them. So it's like three things. Yes, that's the right number. Three things that we do and accept here.
hmm.
Sorry, sir. She is like actively trying to go from up here adrenaline levels to like normalcy, and is like, yes, sir. So as you can see, I'm with children here.
You birthed these children?
No, I'm not with children. I'm accompanying these children. You
Ah,
see, and I
I was
would
gonna say, whew.
happily take on the service portion if all children could board freely. Child labor laws, I'm sure you get it. Could I, isn't there something we could work out where I could do a little extra labor and the children could ride free.
Yeah, so the captain, the one that was asking for like the admission price, essentially, sort of glance at each other, and the captain's like, "Simon, put on my eyebrows," thinking eyebrows. And Simon pulls out these couple like felt squares that have a sticky tack on the other side and puts them on the other skeleton's face, like where the brow bone is. It's like, I mean, that one already has a broom, and he points to Robin's like, I was just thinking, broom the dicks. We never get to brush the dicks.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, as long as you don't get in the way of any other crew, and you're right, we shouldn't be charging children. There is varying prices, adult prices and children prices, of course. And it is skeletons night, so you know what? Why not?
Ah,
Come
thank
aboard.
you so much. We're forever grateful. The night is approaching. Children, it's gonna
Simon, you may
let
remove
one
my
of them get on
eyebrows since
first.
Simon's
I love the eyebrow look. It's very authoritative. And it's great. It frames your bone structure well.
from the crowd behind you.
You stop that. Okay.
They like puns.
And we'll head on. I think she hasn't let go of Chris yet, and you just hear like that kind of like if you were to drag a rock around a rim of a porcelain teacup, you hear that over and over again as Trinket is like stroking the back of Chris's hand nervously and just trying to give some comfort without overwhelming Chris, because she knows that this is all Chris's first time, and is trying to be, a grounding presence, but still wants to find some time to actually talk to Chris about this. And I was like, well, it's skeleton night, which is lovely. I think I'm gonna get
Skeleton
our service. Yay! Oh, wow, you're there. And I think I'm going to do the service part. And you can enjoy the night, and I'll come check in with you when I'm done. Maybe it's time for some fun and relaxation for all of you. Yes, is everyone all right? Everyone's okay. Goodness. And I think very abruptly she just like throws herself forward and like pulls um Chris and Moth into very tight hugs, one for each arm. And then pulls back and goes, "We will talk later." Yes? And then turns to Robin and squeezes her hand and goes, "Very proud of you. That was stupendous. You're so qualified, so capable. May I have your broom?"
Oh, I was gonna help.
No. I think this will help clear my head. You can look after the little ones and have a little fun yourself. Please. I insist. And she's like,
Okay.
she seems very normal about it, but she's like, I insist.
For Trinket.
Yeah. She's
Oh,
like this lady needs some alone time.
I need something
Like,
to do.
Therapeutic cleaning.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah, she'll
Therapeutic.
take it and
Here you
start.
go. Take my
She'll
broom.
immediately start. She's
Have
like
fun.
twirling on her toes as she does it. Like she's like
Mhm.
sweeping in circles, tight little pirouette circles.
All right. So let's I guess relax. Somebody dropped some dice. I don't know who it was.
Natural 20! You hear somewhere in the crowd of people on the boat.
Oh,
And
they
you
have
look over and
here.
you see that
Are
there
they
is a
playing?
skeleton who's behind what you recall is referred to as a DM screen, and 4 other players are like, yeah, critical roll. Like, I've got a slide drag. Ah!
What are they doing over
Having a little
there?
one shot in the fair.
Oh,
Okay,
the
so
night
now we're
one
switching
shot.
games.
Yep. The meta is getting meta. Yes, it is. But she looks at the 2 little ones and she's like, okay, so everyone is having fun. I think we all had a lot in these last couple minutes. So do you guys want to, I guess, go find out what Skeleton Night is all about?
It seems to involve a lot of flowers, so I am very excited to see what it is about.
Moth?
I think Moth, like, she'll look at Robin and then like she'll look down and then she'll look at Chris and then be like, "No, I think I'll stay here. Um, yeah, I think I'll stay here. I'm really
Well,
tired. If that's okay, is it okay?"
I mean, I guess so, but I don't want to like leave you by yourself. I mean, I guess we're on a boat, so as long as you don't jump overboard.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that's not. No, not
You
at
would.
all.
Honestly, I'm not even sure about what you would and wouldn't do anymore.
And that's the fun of being sisters. Oh, you're not sure
Yay.
about that.
It's not gonna lie, a little stressful, just a little bit. It's like this much. The rest is great. You have to promise here, pinky promise, okay, that if anything happens, you're going to like yell out for a trinket or me, okay? And you're also promising that you're not going to attempt to get off this boat in any way.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes. So,
Okay.
just so we're clear, I super duper promise that if anything happens, I will come and yell, or I will just yell for you and Trinket, or
Okay.
Chris, because Chris is actually a really good person to call for like flower reasons. So that's like really cool. And then
Sure.
I also promise not to jump overboard or get into any skeletal shenanigans while you're not there.
Yes, because your excuse for staying back is that you are tired, and tired people can't get into shenanigans. So if you do get into a shenanigan, I'm going to assume you lied to me.
Oh.
Okay?
That's a little rude,
So,
but okay.
just one more time, you sure you don't want to come along?
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay. All right.
But you guys have fun, please. And if you see any really cool, like pretty flowers, also
I'll
give them
bring
to
them.
Chris.
Yeah. Come on, Chris.
Okay. Give a little worried look to Moth.
Yeah, it's not long before the ferry already sets off. There wasn't a huge crowd of skeletons behind you, but enough to sort of do a mini parade. So the dock is already lifted up and away, and you hear the chugging of the engine underneath and sort of feel it a little bit. There is dozens of skeletons on board on all the levels. The upper deck is just filled with them dancing, and the band now has taken center stage and playing loudly. There are some that sort of chilling on the edges, hanging off the sides. Some crew that are up in like the crow's nest with the sails that are just not so much down. They're maybe just display at this point with the reconfiguration of the ship to a ferry, but they still maintained those tall sails there. The captain is sort of watching over everything, tipping his hat to any individual that comes and approaches and talks to him. But with all the ruckus and the chattering of bones and definitely dozens of skeleton jokes happening at every corner that you can imagine, there is other kinds of individuals here. You catch there is a couple, two beavers. They're dressed in refinements. The lady sort of almost looking like she's still wearing her wedding gown, and the man in the suit. And they're all being very cuddly, nuzzling their noses together, very excited. I was like, oh dear, I can't wait until we find the perfect place for our home. He's like, oh yes, my love, I'm going to make the biggest dam you'll ever see, and just for you, my dearest in the world. It's like, oh my loving variable man.
Speed murderers.
But does Chris know that's what beavers do?
Probably not.
Just like, oh, they're cute, and their noses are pressing.
They smell like vanilla for some reason.
Yeah.
murderers.
But they're so excited to build their home, so yay. There is even some other kinds of not just living or undead. There is a marionette, sort of looking like Del Toro's depiction of Pinocchio, if anyone's seen that movie or know of that depiction. So much more woody, almost like he's made of driftwood, so like a gray driftwood. This individual painted white paint on them to look like a skeleton themselves. So they painted a skull on their face and some loose kind of cartoony bones on their limbs, and they're sort of just flopping about. They're like, yeah, skeleton eye. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah. Woo. And sort of like getting in the way, and the skeletons don't seem to mind them at all. They're like, yeah, skeleton night, woo, and sort of mimicking back and forth, everyone copying each other. And yeah, there is plenty of flowers in either like flower crowns or necklaces. There's even some that are just shaped into like shawls you can throw on yourself. No one's watching who's picking up what, so you're able to just grab whatever you want. There is very small table of refreshments, enough for few living individuals to encounter with. Of course, the skeletons have no need of it, though some are very much filling metal tankards and just throwing it back, but you see liquid just dripping right through them, drenching their clothes. You know, skeleton night.
Oh my gosh.
It is a startling contrast to what you just ran from, where this is extreme celebration, no worries, no cares, just the chugging of the ship, or in Trinket's case, the swishing of the broom as you are put to work. And it takes a little time to settle down the anxiety. But no one seems to be bothering you other than the occasional, like, hello, greeting, getting you to dance, or handing you any of the flowers. And if you ever get close to the jazz, even while you're sweeping, it doesn't matter if you're doing a chore or not, you get swept up into it, and you're just sweeping while you're dancing with them.
I love skeleton night.
And night does meet the earth as the red horizon deepens and darkens before it completely blacks out. And all you have around you for light is the lanterns on the ship, the lantern that Robin has, and the moon full and up in the sky, just slightly obscured by a blanket of cloud. For the most part, you feel safe.
For the most part.
I want to find.
Wait for them.
I want to find Moth once it gets dark.
Moth, yeah. Easy enough. Well, I guess it depends on what Moth is doing. I shouldn't say easy enough and assume. Moth, what are you doing?
I think Moth is just like in like where they're staying and kind of just like reflecting on what she saw, and then also reflecting on what Trinket said, and like how they have to give like a fiend to something, and wants just, it's like kind of playing in her head where it's just like she wants more information, and almost like it's the first time during this entire thing where she's very much just felt scared, and she's very much just felt like things are not in like our control anymore, this is not a fun time. And so it's like almost that like little bit of fun just kind of like not completely died out, but like it came to like a mum, because it was just like no. But she's just in the room kind of like unraveling one of her bandages, like it's one of the ones that got like already done, but she kind of unravels the other one and just is like sitting there trying to not think but like think, so she's just playing with her bandages a lot.
Is the door to this room open?
I feel like Robin would have probably closed it, right? Just to keep like to keep moth
Yeah,
like
then
in
you
there.
hear a little
You
knock.
stay in.
Yeah, you hear a little knock, and darling, it's me, it's Trinket.
Are you sure?
Yes, quite sure. I am Trinket.
Uh,
Um,
who's my best friend in the whole wide world?
in the whole wide, probably Chris.
Then
Um,
like runs to the door before she even finishes the sentence and like throws it open. Hi, Trinket.
hello, little one. Hello, darling. I wanted to come in and talk for a second. Could you spare me your ear for just a moment?
Yeah, Robin and Chris went to Scala tonight, but like I kind of stayed here because my tummy kind of hurts. Absolutely lying. My tummy kind of
Yeah.
hurts, so I just kind of wanted to like stay and like.
Yes, I too am in need of a dire hoof and would love to sit with you. Is that all right?
Yeah, of course.
Wonderful. I was very impressed by your bravery today. It seems like we saved each other's lives today.
Yeah, I'm sorry I grabbed your mirror. I didn't like know what else to really grab. So like and then like it was like right there and it was shiny and then it was just like, oh, shiny thing. And so like I grabbed it and I was just like, maybe if I can hit it, then I can help you. And I just really wanted to like help because like I don't want you to get hurt and I don't want to get hurt and I don't want Robin or Chris to get hurt. And like it was so is that the thing that's like you said here?
Yes.
And it said all that stuff from before like you it wanted you to betray us.
It did. Yes. But as you can tell, I would never.
Oh, well, that's good because like um I also, if it's okay, um well, can I tell you something?
Of course you can, darling.
um so usually whenever my mom has to come to school to like get me out of school, she doesn't protect me as much. And so it was really nice when I saw you kind of like stand up. Like, do you know like the figure like Joan of Arc, like Joan of Arc, like Joan of Arc? Like it kind of like looked like her, where it was just like a battle plate, and like it was really cool. And like I I really, really, really wanted to thank you, and I admire you a lot. And you're one of my favorite people. And I just wanted to make sure that you know that because not a lot of people are ready to come after me and make sure that I was okay. But you did. And thank you a lot.
While Moth is talking, um, I think Trinket is just like silently like nodding along, letting Moth talk and like really listening as she's just taking the bandage that you had unbandaged and is just slowly wrapping it back around your wrist, nodding along, and making sure that the bandage is secure but not too tight. And once you're done, she says, "You and your sister and Chris are so worth protecting. There was no other choice in my mind. You're going to get home, and there may be more scary moments ahead. But what I learned today is that I am in the company of three very tough, very brave heroes. And if we can be heroes together, then I think all the heroes can get home. And I truly believe that." going to be all right. And I know that your tummy hurts, but the skeletons are absolutely wasting the cider up there. And I think it could help cure a little something. I haven't had a break from my sweeping since we got onto the boat. Why don't we go find Chris and Robin and see if we can't share some cider and maybe enjoy skeleton night together? How does that sound?
That sounds nice. And then like Moth just like immediately like wraps her arms around Trinket and like hugs her tightly, but like not tightly to like break anything, but tightly enough that like it's like thank you for like it's almost like in Moth's mind, thank you for being like a mom. But then also she would just whisper to Trinket, Samantha said my name, and I don't think is that gonna keep happening? That was weird.
Where is she
Shit, I
now?
forgot about that. Oh my god.
I I dropped her when she said my name, so
Oh,
I don't know.
okay. Well, let's tell Robin and Chris so that if any of us see Samantha, we'll know what to expect and we'll be on the lookout for another incident like today, because if I can help it, that will be the last one. Why don't we go talk to them and make sure we're all on the same page and then have a bit of fun ourselves?
Okay. And like both just
Yeah. Goodness, this is the worst.
I almost forgot like I dropped the snail and then the snail talked to me and I was just like, oh, that was a turn of events. Anyway.
Oh, did the snail talk to you?
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Chris, and Robin, what have you two been doing?
I would. Yeah, I think I would walk out and seeing all the flower stuff that's around, probably like deck Chris out.
They'll
Just
just
like
stand there like
sticking
T-posing.
flowers everywhere. And just decking them out. I think, yeah, because they also like realize like, oh man, they probably had no idea what just happened, and it was a lot. It was a lot of stuff that happened. So they're just trying to just like make them smile or like make them comfortable and like put them in like a place or a position where they don't really have to think about that right now. So it's like take a break from all of the gears turning, you know what I mean? We'll get to it when we get to it, type of thing. And we go over to the table and yeah, like we find some stuff and I probably, I'm like, the skeletons don't actually need to eat anything. But you can taste it, most of it, all the liquid stuff anyways. And she's like scrambling because she's trying really hard to like be nice and comforting, but that's not something she does. So she's just being really freaking awkward. And so she'll like have like bring like cups out and ask you to like dip your little tippy fingers in, and then she'll ask you which one you like the best, and then she'll grab the same one and you guys just kind of like walk around with them. And then she'll point out how the skeletons seem to be like dancing like the way Chris does. They're like swaying, and it's like, oh look, they're bones, but they're dancing like plants. Ha ha ha! And then they'll stand and sway a little bit, and it's just being really freaking weird.
I think Chris doesn't have the context for that, so this is just
Yeah,
how
it's
Robin
great.
is. So.
I that is like best case scenario right now, that Chris can't conceptualize how awkward and
Yeah,
weird
awkward is
Robin
above their
being.
heads. Yeah.
So this is great. This is great. But yeah, so I think like for Robin's part, that would be mostly what's going on. I don't know if like Chris would like do anything or say anything different.
Kind of going along with it. I think if Robin is leading as far as like, oh, let's go over here, ooh, let's try this, let's like go to the dancing. Chris is just going to follow along and kind of enjoy not having to make decisions for a moment. And realizing they really haven't had to make a lot of decisions throughout this. They've just kind of been carried along, which is fine. This is an adventure, and yeah, so they get the flowers down. They try the cider and kind of like side eye the food compared to the skeletons because skeletons are food sometimes. So there's
Didn't
like
even think about that.
there's this weird like disconnect as far as like what is and isn't food. But like we'll try the ciders and is excited that everyone else knows the sway, so she doesn't or they don't have to teach it to anyone. So yeah, they're just kind of going with it in a way that feels this is at least this isn't scary. No one is acting scared, so this must be fun.
Yeah. Robin kind of like so she's like, "Hey, yeah, I just wanted to like say like I'm sorry about like yanking you and dragging you
That's
along.
fine.
But I really, really didn't want to leave you alone in a place we don't know.
That seemed important.
Yeah, it's you know, how like you and Moth have been holding hands most of the time, and we do everything together, right? And we don't split up, and so that way we can see everybody and we know that everybody is okay and everybody's having a good time, right?
Is Moth having a good time right now?
Well, they were really tired, so they're probably, trying to rest. But we can bring them some of the food and some of the flowers and maybe take the good time to them.
It is dark, and that is when things
Yeah.
get tired. That makes sense.
Yeah, right? They
Mhm.
sleep. Everything sleeps, I suppose. I'm not sure if you sleep. That's besides the point. But what I mean, it's like, yeah, and so when and Moth wasn't there and Trinket went after Moth, right? The only way to stick together was to go with them. But it happened very fast, so I just grabbed you and ran. But yeah, we all got back together though, and now we're all here together, so that's good. That's a good thing.
Together.
And she's just rambling and being extra awkward and grabbing food and just that's the thing. Yeah. Yep.
And that
The-
word is
yeah.
is like resonating with Chris. That together is resonating. Again, something not quite clicking, but it's there.
And I feel like when Moth and Trinket come out, she probably would see Moth first out of the corner of her eye and just assume, oh my gosh, something happened because Moth came out of the room to come look for us. And so she like startles and she's like, oh, like, hey, she was going to ask like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And then she sees Trinket and just is like, oh, Jesus, okay. Everything's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine.
Yeah. So the four of you meet again as Robin and Chris were ready to bring the party to Moth and running into Moth and Trinket as they were coming to join the party. When as you're standing there getting into that recognition of Robin, you're like, okay, this is fine. We're okay. When you feel a slight chug in the boat, like just a
Oh no. We were
and you
having a
hear
good
just
time.
a light grind as those paddle wheels on the sides are just like and the smoke stack of the ship, the billowing smoke starts to dissipate out. Trinket, your instinct immediately is to look to the shoreline where you boarded the ship from on that side. And just the whole time as the ferry's still sort of slowly coming into a slower movement, but still going forward, you're seeing just two distant dots matching pace. And we're going to go to break. So
We're on water. Come on.
This is great.
this is good. So we are going to take a quick break. So remember, washrooms, water, medications, stretch, all that fun stuff. And we'll be right back as we enter the last half and ending of our story. Let's hope it goes well. See you in a bit. right, welcome back. Our children had just survived a very forward encounter with the fiend and are now on a pirate ship slash ferry boat on the river, sort of a river cruise, if you will. Which is kind of funny. One of the skeletons they came with happened to be a Jungle Cruise skipper, so but in this moment, as our children had initially split off and are now reconvening to join the night and celebration proper together, there was a chug in the ship as the sound of the engines sort of stalling and the smoke coming out of the stack is tippering out. And our trinket noticed just two little white specks on the riverside that they initially came from. But you're on the boat, you're on the ship, I'm sure it's fine. Um, the
I
skeletons
tell
are
the
still
kids
dancing.
immediately. I go, children, children,
Mhm.
do you see that? Look, there,
Oh.
from the woods. If you see that, don't go towards it, and please let all of us know so we know where it is and we can work together to avoid it. Does that sound
We won't
okay
go
with
towards it,
everyone?
but what if it comes towards us?
Yeah, I think this is a problem because we're on a boat.
We're on a boat.
Is the
Well,
boat
if
stopping?
we should go check. We should go check and make sure it's not, so we can continue on our way. Where would that be? Where do boat people go? Who's in charge
Oh,
of the boat?
oh,
Is-
yeah,
Eyebrows.
the captain. Yeah,
Oh,
and
oh,
we'll
yes, of course, of course.
go that way. I'm pretty sure Robin knows where a captain would be on a boat.
Yeah, so the general idea, there's got to be a captain's deck or quarters somewhere. So you all, as a pack, sort of trance around the ship, and you find the stairs that goes up to this other level. It sort of overlooks the deck in the front. And you do see that the captain, with his large, obscenely large hat that sort of consumes his skull, is there frantically pulling on some of the levers and levers. He's just like, these confounded technologies, not like a good sail. Ugh. Simon, give me my angry eyebrows. And Simon there is just like, yes, Captain. And he pulls out the two felt pieces and puts them on, or like, it's like, much better. Darn,
Oh,
darn engines.
okay. So what is the problem, Captain?
Oh, and the two skeletons turn. Simon just seems like just very done with the world is his energy, but the captain's very like exuberant, like, whoa, oh, children. Yeah. Apologies. Everything's all right. Hope you're enjoying the skeleton night, the cruise. I'm
we
sure
were
it's fine.
enjoying.
Sometimes the engine
It's not moving.
likes to hiccup.
It's not moving. We're not moving. We need to
yes.
move. Like, we need to get to the
Well,
other
I know.
side.
I need to drop everyone off. Yes, I agree. Everyone must make it back to the other shore.
And how do we?
It's the point of a
How,
cruise.
yeah. So how do we get this moving again?
I guess if we must fuss with the engine, who's on engine duty tonight, Simon? It's Bishop, Captain. Right. Bishop, he's in the engine room. He must be dealing with it. Maybe you could see if he needs some assistance.
Sure.
Find Bishop.
Oh,
Okay. Yep.
Yep.
All right. Is just follow all the stairs all the way down.
oh, okay. Yeah, because like
Yes,
none of us moved. We're all like, yes, of course we'll go.
So you're all very rushedly as slowly the boat is still like slowing down. You rush down the stairs and underneath the deck. It is a more confined space in here. There's only a few lights because they don't want too many fire points in a wooden ship. So it is a little tight, it's a little darker, and it takes you a second to sort of find your way. You do hear like the louder chugging of the engine. It's desperately trying to do whatever the engine does. And you hear just this mattering mumbling of someone clanking and tossing tools on metal. It's like, oh, god darn thing of a thingamajig. And when you turn the corner, you just see there is a not a skeleton, but just a odd looking man. He is very long limbed, um, has a very big nose, a big bushy mustache and beard. Thick glasses are just coated in soot, and he is trying to finagle around the tools and around the engine. And he seems to be like pulling something out of it that just doesn't want to let loose. He's like, "Oh God darn it!"
Toodles, hello there. We're here to help you.
Bruh. Oh, and he sort of turns around. You can't really see his eyes because of all the soot and the thick glasses, but he turns his head around, sort of ducking underneath the arm to look at you. And now they have a more proper look of his face. Basically, just the lower half is all beard and long hair that's soot covered and looks like it's been singed, just like puffed out. But he lifts up the glasses with literally squinty eyes, just like, "Help me. What do you know about engines? How could you help me?"
What is that creature on your face?
Oh, creature.
You have, it looks like a squirrel, maybe.
And like his large nose kind of like twitches, and the whole thing kind of shifts
Oh.
with it. And he takes his hand and pats his face, like, "Oh, it's a beard.
I do not know that creature.
I
It's not
grew
hurting
it."
you, right?
No, it's like, you know how those two have like strands growing out of their head, hair.
Not okay.
I have that. It's not on my head, but it's on my face.
As long as you are not in danger.
Oh, well, if I can't. And he slaps the engine. It's like, "I might be if I can't handle this thing."
Okay, then we will help with that.
What seems to be the problem?
Something got caught up within it, and he's one of his hands like still trying to pull and yank on something. You see like this black. I actually think it might be a cord or a rope. It's just he's trying to pull on it desperately. Like, I can't seem to get it loose. I think I'm a little too big to really reach in there and get it out.
You're small.
Oh, well, let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. And like sort of comes over, hands first, and pulls himself forward, and he looms over you and's observing. He's like, all right, all right, all right. And he points at you, Robin. It's like, you might be the least likely to get set on fire. And he like sort of pats your hand, Chris. Who's like, "I'm assuming you're a plant. You look very floral. You have quite the gown of marigolds on you right now, actually. I'd be worried about it getting caught. The embers and coal, you know."
I don't, but okay.
And he kind of like leans a little bit to Robin and Trinket, seeing like, "I assume you two are the oldest ones."
Yeah.
Have none of you warned her about plants and fire?
Oh well,
There hasn't
we have,
been
it's a strange. It's a
we've
conversation.
a lot of things
We'll-
going on.
You never know with
Yeah.
children and the time to
Um,
bring such things up
we'll
as mortality.
it.
Don't
Yeah.
worry.
We'll
We'll
explain
talk
at some
about
point.
absolutely.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
about the fire in the engine.
Yes. Just over here, I think you, the little one in the witch hat, if you take that side. And then maybe, oh, you look like you're made of some sort of material. He sort of like lightly taps your hands, and you hear like from his gloved hand like something almost stony underneath, and he taps. He's like, "Oh yes, you should be able to handle it too. Maybe you can go on the other side and sort of try and loosen it. I might have some shears or something around here." And he shuffles around, and there's just a mess of items, and like he made a workshop here in the messiest manner. It makes no sense. It's just chaos. But he's very much going through the mess and picking out different things. He's like, "Oh, those are for sewing," and he tosses them aside. And he's like, "Oh, that's the crafting scissors," and tosses it aside. And then he pulls out some really giant gardening shears, and he kind of looks at you. He's like, no, and he tosses it aside. Ah, there we go. The little gardening ones, those should work. If one of you two want to try that, and the other one can be pulling,
Oh,
I should be
I
good to
think-
go.
yeah, you take the I'll pull. I don't want your arm to just like come out or something.
It's happened before. It won't be the last time.
Well, you're prone to dislodging.
Yeah. I'll pull. I'll
Well, I
pull,
wouldn't
I'll
say prone.
All right.
Would you say prone?
No, not at all. I can't recall the last time one of your parts that you did it intentionally, you know. Yep. Yeah, so on this side, right?
She covers
She'll
the
just
part that
shuffle.
she had popped off before.
Yep.
And I'm gonna attempt to reach and grab the thing I gotta yank.
Yes.
Yeah,
So you each
I'll help.
You each take a side of the engine, and for Chris, and Moth, you're there with this man who's very much longer in torso and really stubby in his lower legs, and he's just sort of curled up, watching the pair, keeping an eye on the engine. He has a wrench in his hand. He's like, "Well, I think you two should be prepared to also jump in and maybe pull on that one. If she can't pull, you pull her, and then maybe you can pull her." As he gestures between you two, you can all make a nice little pulling train. Just yes, As he's like now focused on Chris because she's mimicking him. He's like, yes.
Moth almost just like kind of reaches, like knows it's not polite to touch people, but like every time she reaches up, his beard moves, and she's like, "Wait,
and just like
I should pull something." I'm sorry. What were the instructions?
We
be
pull.
prepared. Yes, you go, little flower child.
Oh.
You can explain
No.
it better. You have much better hand motiony things.
I explained once, and only once works, so you must explain it
Okay,
now.
we will. When they start pulling, we pull on them.
Got
Make a
it.
pull train.
Yes.
Train.
All right. Let's anticipate and prepare to jump in.
Yes.
And he turns back around, and you two take each side. And yeah, you do see there's just something rope-like that's been coiling out of the engine, is caught within the gears, and it's just like.
Okay. Would this just be like a steam roll or?
Yeah, we can do
Because
straight
I can help
steam.
out if you want to work together to do it.
Yeah, I mean whoever's pulling on the thing.
Yeah,
has to.
I'll be on Robin's side to help
Okay.
pull.
Yeah, depending on
Alright.
what you need, you might be able to re-roll since we're working together.
Mhm.
But maybe you'll get double sixes.
Yeah.
Right, the first one was a 6. So I think you called it, but I don't want to look at the second one because I don't jinx it. Not a 6, but not bad. That was a 4, and I have a +1 to my steam. So,
Oh, so that makes it
Jesus,
11.
that's yep. I can't math today. Oh my god.
All right, 11. So best result you can get. So with that, you very nimbly, now feeling like I have a job and it's for an engine, I'm going to get this thing going. This weird man trusts me with this. And you grab onto it and you yank, and it takes a little bit as you pull, and you're pulling, and Moth and Chris are just there ready to jump in as they were told, but you witnessed that Robin is just full yank, and with your full body you come back, and this black coiling comes and unravels out, and there's little thorns bits on it and little pricklies. Luckily your hand
Of
doesn't
course
catch
there
in the
is.
pricklies, and you just have it now in your hand, and yep, there it is.
Yeah, no, I feel like she yanks it out, like uses her body weight, right? And like lands on her butt, but the whole thing comes out. And then she looks at it and sees the pricklies and just like like lets go of it. Do you
boy.
know how these things got in here?
And his long arm comes over, and just with his middle finger and thumb, he picks it up. He's like, "Oh dear." Meh, and he tosses it into the fire part of the engine and closes the door.
Something
Wiggles
clicks.
his mustache.
It's flammable. Cool.
Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing that he did that, or is that a bad thing? I don't know.
Oh, I
anymore.
think it's good. It's good.
I
it's
think it
good,
was
it's
good. Yeah, just it not existing anymore, I think, is a positive. It's not
And you
existing
feel
in
the
our
ship
vicinity is even better.
Ooh.
Wait.
as
Oh.
it jolts a bit forward, and it jolts a bit forward again.
Oh,
And
does it work
then
now?
there is a rhythm as it moves out and propels forward.
Okay. Okay, we're moving. That's good.
Should we check upstairs to see if the eyes are still following us and the blackness is going? Should we
I mean,
check that?
it that way.
Yes.
Yes.
Moth
we
immediately
go.
like runs upstairs, probably
Goodbye,
like takes
Mr. Bishop.
Chris by the hand.
Oh, you can keep the shears, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, she wasn't gonna give him back.
Children, and he goes back to sorting out his coal pile. That is far more organized than any of his instruments or tools in the space. For whatever reason, his coal is very organized and in line. But you rush back up and get on the deck. And the party is still roaring. There is now just seems like skeletons have found other means to create instruments to join in. It's now no longer just the jazz band. It is a jam session going on. Some are still like just taking like a femur from their leg and like rhythming it off their rib cages. Others are just taking like a bellows, like a hearth bellows, and are letting it bellow through their head so it creates a whistle. Just the weirdest assortment of different things happening, but the skeletons are super happy and they're into it. And yeah, you immediately look to the shoreline, and there's still 2 dots in pace. You thought it was just because it was catching up to the slowdown, but no, I think it's still keeping pace.
How close are we to the other side of the river?
Yeah, it's been a time. It has already been sunset. You've been partying on the ship, or at least the skeletons have been partying on the ship, and you are getting close to the dock. Maybe give me a gander. See if you can see if there's anything coming up down on the other side.
No. That's a 2. I think I'm just like looking at the eyes and just being a little too worried to like look away from them, probably.
Mhm.
So I'm just hoping we're close to the other side.
Yeah, well, luckily, with any failed roll, you get an experience point. But yes, you try and look to see on the other side, but of course, it's nightfall. It is dark. You can only barely make out the mist because of the soft moonlight from the diffused clouds above. So you're not quite seeing any dock, but you're also worried about what's on the other side still. The anxiety is building as Brambles you found in the engine. Oh dear. And again, it's a weird space of your anxieties there, but the celebration is going on. There's that cute little beaver couple nuzzling. They're now like trading ciders where they're holding each other's ciders and tipping it back for each other. The marionette is now just allowed their strings to hang from the mast, and they're now just sort of dancing in the air. It's like, yay, woo, skeleton night, woo.
I'm pretty sure that is not safe at all.
No. And you definitely get the feeling from him he's on the same level as Chris in terms of just doesn't have much in his head to worry about. He's just in the moment and enjoying himself. But eventually, The boat does come close, and you do see a speck of light in the distance on the side that you wish to be on. Is there anything you want to console or talk to each other with before the ship docks?
I really wanted to talk to Chris.
Just vibing.
As you're vibing, Trinket also comes up and is like swaying, trying to find an in to like talk to you.
Yeah, of course.
Because I don't know, I don't know what she thinks will happen if you try to walk through like a magic portal or like start to fade out of existence with these two kids when you show up with them. What is your existence going to be like? Like she's a little worried. Like maybe you'll turn human, maybe you'll turn into a potted plant. Both options terrifying. So she walks up to you and is swaying a little bit back and forth and goes, Chris, could I would you like to dance with me?
I would love to. You are a very good dancer.
Oh, but seriously,
Yep.
as she like grabs her hands and starts to sway.
Okay.
As she is like slowly spinning and swaying with you, she goes, it seems to me that you've quite grown since finding Robin and Moth. I mean, I don't know about like in in what you know and how you are. You seem so much more Chris than when I first met you. How are you feeling?
I feel more. I feel like I am and have and could be more. There is a feeling, and feelings are new because I never really had to have them before. I was just in my meadow, and now I'm not. And that was scary, but with you all, it's not. And there's something there, and I don't have the words for it. Because words are new too. But I've learned so many with you all. It's been fascinating, and I want it to keep being fascinating.
Well, I can assure you, life is no less fascinating, only more confusing, which I guess is fun for you.
It is.
I don't know what Robin and Moth's home is like, but I do know that anyone would be lucky to be your mum. And I think that as long as you and Robin and Moth stay together as a family, you're going to be just fine. And your life will be completely fascinating because family is not just who you share blood with, because it's who you choose to find life fascinating with.
That's it. That's the word I needed. They're my family. You're my family too.
She hugs you.
Oh, God.
Just like immediately hugs you. And goes, yes, of course I am, darling. Of course I am. And I cannot wait to see what you learn tomorrow and the day after. I'm going to go look for the docks. Continue dancing. Don't forget it's all in the hips, darling.
I don't know if I have those.
Well,
okay,
it's
no,
all.
I got
There,
it.
there they are. There you go.
One of the skeletons overhears you. He's like, "Oh, here's a hip," and hands you a hip bone.
Oh, thank you. It is delicious.
You can't tell a skeleton's expression, unlike the captain with his eyebrows, but he just kind of like tilts his head for a second. He's like, I don't know how to feel about this? And he's like having an existential
does.
crisis and walks away.
With what hips? Sorry.
Oh, it wasn't his.
Even
That's
better.
somehow, yeah, even better. Just, where did he get them? Who knows?
Why?
Like,
What?
It's a
It's
party.
skeleton night.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, let's go. Ugh.
you're not gonna give them back.
Gave it to
For
me.
him
That's
now.
mine now.
That's in my special items.
I got nectar, yarn, and a hip bone.
And a hip.
What every plant girl needs. Would Robin and Moth like to do anything before the ship docks?
I think Moth would probably look at Robin and be like, if we go home, we're totally going home, but if we go,
When we go home. Mm-hmm.
yeah, because none of this is terrifying at all. But when we go home, do you, if you want, no pressure at all, but do you wanna hang out for like one day, maybe like an hour, because like I miss hanging out with you. And I know that's weird, but just like for like one day, maybe like an hour, and then like you could go off with your friends, I promise. But I miss watching spooky movies with you and watching you curl up in a blanket and be like, no. But if you want, no pressure.
Well, I think when we get home, the first thing I'm going to do is take a very, very, very long sleep. I feel like we both need that. In our, take a bath, my hair, take a bath and, get the dirt off and then curl up in bed, squishy pillows, just sleep until I can't sleep anymore. But yeah, after that, sure, we can have a movie night. Bring the blankets and pillows out to the living room.
Can we build a fort
Yes.
like we used to?
Yeah, why not? We can build a fort.
And then
But
Chris
this
could
time
trade
you
with it.
have to help me take it down because I'm not doing it all by myself again.
But it's so boring to take it down. Why can't we just like leave it up?
Well, because then mom and dad would have nowhere to like sit down to watch their shows and stuff, and they don't fit in the fort. They're too big.
Well, maybe we
Um,
can like make a big fort so that it's not only like me and you, but then it's me, you, Chris, Trinket, mom, dad. Like everybody can like join in a movie night, and then we'll be like one like super cool family. And
I don't
it'll be
know if we have enough blankets and pillows for a fort that big, but sure, we can try. We'll see. We'll see when we get there, I suppose. I don't know if everything is going to stay the same when we get out of here.
what do you mean?
I don't know, like back home, have you ever known a plant that talks?
Well, we do now, which is really, really cool because Chris is like so cool. So
Yeah, here, but not a single one back home does.
well,
And
maybe
so
Chris can be the first.
maybe, but there's also a chance they won't be able to talk when we go back. And you're going to have to take really good care of them. Okay?
Oh,
Because they're not going to be able to tell you what they need.
well,
Um,
I learned a lot about plants, especially from Chris and especially like, doing
well,
all of this.
yeah. I mean,
So,
mom really likes her garden and the flowers and stuff. So, how about you can ask her to teach you how to take care of plants? And that way, you two can spend some time.
that would be a really good
I
idea.
guess.
No, I like that because then like I'll be able to take care of Chris and like even if it's like not Chris, but like Chris is still like with us and then like we could show her the mom, like we could show them the mom. Like that would be so cool. Like and
Yeah.
they're so pretty, so like I think mom would like it. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it
so
would
too. I
be
think
nice.
it'll be good
Yeah.
for you too. For both of you.
Well, what about
And
Trinket?
I mean she hasn't said if she's gonna come with us or not. But you have to promise that you're going to be okay with whatever she decides to do.
Um, Probably not. But
Okay, you have to pretend to be okay with what she decides to do.
I mean, it kind of
You
depends
can't.
on what she says. Because if she says that I can't, like, Chris can't come, then I'll be really angry because I
Well,
want them to be a part of our family. But
see,
I will understand politely and
the thing
decline.
is, no, what I mean is, like, every one of them, like, has, they, they decide for themselves, right? And so even if Trinket doesn't want Chris to come, if Chris wants to come, well, Chris is their own person and they would do that. But there's, Trinket hasn't said if they're coming or not, right? So there's a chance they will and there's a chance that they won't.
Well, I hope they do.
And that's their decision, and sometimes we want things really, really badly, but just wanting them doesn't make them, come true. And everybody has to decide for themselves. And sometimes we have to be okay with that, even if it's not what we wanted, because it's what they wanted. And, we care for them a lot and we want them to do what they think is best for them.
True. Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. But also, we can ask them if they want to
You
come with
can.
us.
You can ask.
Would you be
And you
okay
can try to
with that?
convince them if you want to, but you have to be okay with what they decide.
No, yeah,
Okay.
of course. But would you be okay if they came?
Yeah, I think I would like that a lot,
You hear
actually.
Sweet, we got
a
2 yeses.
whistle. You hear a whistle echoing out, just a whoo, whoo, and a yell of land ho as the ship begins to slow down and you see a little light hovering over a dock on the opposite side, the side you want to be on. This ship comes to a stop. You hear the original anchor of the pirate ship sort of like as it sinks into the water below and unraveling the chain. The boarding dock is planked all the way down. the beaver couple that was on board, they're just clap as everyone cheers for the docking, and they're like, "All right, honey, time to go make home." And she nods, she's like, "Oh yes, dear." And they just both jump off the ship. They don't worry about the dock. They jump off the ship into the water.
Into the water. I think Robin, as soon as she hears like the clanking, she was mid sentence and she's like, "Oh, we made it to the other edge. Oh, here, come on, where's the others?" And she just like forgets what she was saying, and she like bumps into like the other, like she finds Chris and she's like, "All right, come on, Meadow." Meadow, oh my god, I keep saying your name. She's like, "Where's Trinket?" Essentially, like, because Trinket walked away from Chris. It's like, "Where's Trinket?" Moth, uh, hold Chris's hand.
Trinket!
We don't want them to get lost in the skeletons coming out. And she starts pushing skeletons out of the way to get them like to the front
I
of
never.
the disembarking line as she's like looking around for Trinket.
I think you'd see Trinket. She already like shimmied up the main mast and is untangling the marionette, and like giving like coming down, but giving him like a stern lecture on safety. It's like, we're toys, my good fellow. You must take care of yourself. Pride in yourself. You don't want to end up like me. Look at this, heavens! No, what do you need? Listen, I'm going to tie these. I'm going to braid them, and then tie them, and then we're going to make sure that they're organized and they're in the proper place for you to have a fulfilling life. It's important to use discernment, my dear. And like, I don't think she can tell that he's not listening, and she's just like
Yeah.
braiding his strings when she hears one of the kids call for her and go, "Well, you can take over from here, darling. Okay, be careful." And she's gonna run off.
And he
back
just
to the
knots
group.
it.
No,
There we go. And he's like, "Yeah, skeleton day! Woohoo!"
I hope he has a great life. I hope all good comes to him.
But yes, you do find Trinket. You all find each other once more and begin departing the ship. Some of the skeletons come off, and the boat makes another sounding whistle of "whoo, whoo," as it disembarks from the shore and continues on. The skeletons sort of just dissipate into the road, into the woods. And this is a moment where I'd like to give you all a chance to pursue hope, because you did solve a problem on the ship. So by solving a problem, you get to hope. And I think for a number of you, this is just enough. For Robin and Moth, at least, you get a familiar smell, something comforting, something of home. As you get a bit of a sigh, you glance back across the river and you see those two eyes watching. And it is trying to approach the river's edge, this tall, lanky figure, almost like it's trying to stretch its body out, but unsure how to force it over the water. You hear that snapping, splintering, dislocating of something as long, limbish, ropey things start lashing out into the water, going from almost octopus-like shapes into striking arrows hitting water, trying to test where it wants to go, if there is any way it can cross. And it just keeps going at it and going at it. And you're hearing the splashes and the splashes and the splashes. But home isn't too far away. You can find it.
Robin,
Yeah.
I think we're almost home.
Yeah, me too.
What do we do?
We run. But Chris, do you still want to come with us? We're
Yes.
almost home.
You're my family. I have to. I want to.
Okay, Moth, I guess don't let go of Chris. All right, because they don't know where we're going.
Hold
Okay.
hands, children!
Trinket,
What? What is it?
we're almost out. I can literally smell my mom's cooking from here. I think if we run fast enough, they won't be able to catch us before we make it out. But are you coming along? Mom has this thing called like super glue, and once I could put you together with it, and then I know it's like none of your little bits are gonna like fall off anymore, and I'll polish you, and
My little bits.
I'm-
That's so funny.
and I have a friend who's like really like good with like painting and stuff, and they could probably like give you a new coat of paint over the top too. And
Also, we have some Gorilla Glue too. Don't forget to tell her about the Gorilla Glue.
yeah,
That's the super
I don't-
sticky.
yeah, it's too sticky. But yeah, I think, you took care of us all this way, so I think we might be able to do something to take care of you instead.
Family
I
stays
think
together.
she's actively backing up towards where they are, but like keeping her eye on the fiend that's like testing at the water. And I think she goes, "Children, I'm very scared right now. So forgive me if this is the bravado talking. But I think I must stay. There are other children lost here. I think I can help them. I think you showed me how to help them. You go. You get to whatever it is that you have. Thank you, children." And she, at this point, will turn towards them, but only like the head. Her weapon is still pointing towards the fiend, and go, "Thank you for
She
giving
will
me something to fight for." And she's actually going to run towards the fiend instead.
What the hell?
She will grab like the lantern and her broom, and like put it, like leave it for her to use, and just kind of yell out like, like, use this.
Yeah. She's gonna wait for them to start running that way, but I think this is awful and heartbreaking. She takes out her mirror, and as she's running towards the fiend, she's looking at the kids in the mirror to make sure they get through safely. And she's not gonna like swim across a whole river to go attack it, but she's like gonna go hold the front line. Like she's not gonna let it come any closer if she can help it. And the whole time, instead of turning around to go get the lantern or anything like that, she's like just making sure that they keep running and keep going.
Yeah, I think you can see through the reflection, like Robin, like looking right at you, and she nods and she grabs Moth by one hand and Chris by the other and just runs.
Yeah. In this moment, what the kids no longer catch as they turn and bolt is Trinket, that splendorous outfit that you imagined yourself in at the fairy ball just appears on you. The armored pauldrons, the corset, and there's just this little piece inside you. No, the piece that went missing. It feels like there's something there, like there's something solid to you now. And those kids gave it to you. You will remember all their names. And you stand on point, weapons drawn and on guard for in case the fiend comes across. Now for everybody, what I'd like you to do is roll me your 2d6s. Don't add them, just look at the numbers and tell me the numbers. As this will add into your epilogue.
Got 2 4s.
Jesus, why now?
Okay.
I know, I'm like, why are we rolling dice, dude?
Why are we rolling dice?
It's okay. It's okay. But for Chris, because you rolled 2 4s, think of 2 memories that have happened within the woods that resonates with you when you go into your dialogue.
So am I going like into the epilogue using these memories, or
With 2 memories of the wood. Anything that resonates with you, or something that was just out of place, or an experience that you had, a joke, anything that you remember of the wood. So you get to do 2 of those.
Chris?
You can think on it because we're going to
I'll think.
get everyone's here, so
Go for
everyone can think on it. Who would like to tell me there are 2 numbers?
Okay, I got a 6 and a 1.
All right. So Robin, you get to have a moment of that is happiness, a moment that you recall that brings pure experience and joy that you've earned and helped you reconnect with those you love. But on the flip side, there's just a frightful shiver that still resonates in you. Something scary that, it was a lesson. And maybe it's something you did learn in the woods. Maybe it's something you realized from life, unrelated. But those are your 2.
I got a 2 and a 1.
All right. So, you've learned a lot about fear. So you recall 2 fearful moments of this that you learned from, that maybe could be of the woods, that could be of your past, or maybe something you were anxious about of your future that now this fear has taught you a lesson of. So you can think of those moments for you. And finally, Trinket.
Oh, I was supposed to roll. I'm so
You still get to
sorry.
do this.
I got a 4 and a 3.
All right. You also have memories of what happened in this wood that resonates with you. The 2 memories that you will always keep in place of the experiences here. It could be a catchphrase you've picked up. It could be something you learned from someone else, but they are memories of the woods that you will forever carry with you. So, our 3 kids dashing away, smelling home. And for Robin and Moth, you can see as the trees break, a familiar silhouette and warm window glow of that home. You recognize the gardens, you recognize the siding, you recognize the fencing. It's all there. This is home. You rush and you rush and you rush. There's no longer sound of breaking twig or wind to you. It's just the heartbeat in your head, but you're holding on to that hope that you're now filled, emboldened by the actions of Trinket, urging from needing to help each other find your comfort, find your family, and be there and be safe. Robin and Moth, you break that boundary. Chris, what happens when you do?
I think it happens a little bit slowly. It's not instantaneous. Chris will keep running until there are no more legs, just stems. And then there are no more hands, just leaves. Oh, and
I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind fully.
Until Robin is just holding a bouquet that is held together with a old frayed piece of pink yarn that has a little tag on old paper that just says for mom.
Robin and Moth, you run forward, not even realizing quite what has happened yet. You're running across the yard before you slow to a stop to catch your breath. And you turn to each other, excitement, whatever it is you're feeling. And you look down at your hand, Robin.
She had a feeling that something like this was gonna happen, right? Like, she's older, she knows, like, stuff like that doesn't exist where we come from. And so she's really glad that she's the one that was holding chrysanthemum and it wasn't moth. And I think, like, she looks down at her hand and just, like, grips the bouquet, but doesn't say anything. She lets moth keep running to home, essentially, because she doesn't want to, like, ruin that for her. Like, she wants her to get there and open the door and see mom and experience all of that kind of unmarred, right? And then we'll get to that when we get to that. But she just, like, grips she grips Chris really, really hard, to make sure she doesn't accidentally let go of them. And, like, she's already kind of in her head planning where she's gonna put them and like, uh it's like, oh, this window would be, like, the nicest window. And stuff like
I will
that.
say, as Robin looks down, because Chris converted, for lack of a better word, with their items still on them, transformed. The edges of all of their petals are silvered from the nectar that they had on them. There's still a little bit of magic.
Right. So, Moth, your sisters allowed you to run on ahead. You swing open the door, and you do hear your familiar voice of your mother. It's like, oh, Mothica? Robin, you both back already? It's only been a couple hours. Did you do the whole neighborhood?
Yeah, it was so much fun until it wasn't. Hi, Mom. And then, like,
Where's your
kind of,
chocolates? Did you
we
eat
don't
them all already?
we
I
don't
told you
need
to eat them.
we don't need chocolate. Hi, Mom. And then just, like,
Oh,
hugs
oh.
around her, and then just, like, kind of keeps a hold on her and goes, we miss you. We missed you.
A couple hours, love.
I just missed you that much. And then kind of stops herself for a hot second and then turns around and goes, oh, and then, like, we made, like, some new friends. So, like, this is good. And then, like, looks at Robin and then doesn't exactly see what she's supposed to see, which is, like, this, like her, like, best friend, and kind of just goes, like, Robin,
Yeah,
what happened? Where's Chris?
they're right here. And she'll hold out the bouquet.
And then, like, Moth just kind of, like, takes the bouquet in her hand and then, like, kind of sees the tag and almost, like, looks down at it and then, like, hugs it close to her and then, like, goes, well, we made a friend, and the friend really wanted to know what a mom was, and I thought that it would be a good idea for you to also meet them because they were really, really cool. And so here you go. And, like,
Oh.
hold it out to her and then kind of just looks at her mom and goes, like, this is, like, really, really special. And can you plant this somewhere nice so we can always see it? Please.
I think I did just clear out the box from the windowsill in the kitchen. I think it might be good there. We can bring it inside when it gets cold because it's small and contained enough. And
Yeah,
we can make it ornamental during the winter.
Moth actually was wondering if you could teach her how to garden so she could take care of them herself.
You're interested in gardening, Mothica?
Yeah, I would like to take care of Chris if I can, like all the time. And I will make sure that they're fed and that they have really nice I'm gonna lose my mind again.
Yeah. Lynn mother gives you a kiss on your head, and she's like, all right, of course, I'll teach you everything that my green thumb knows. I'm sure you got it in you too. Why don't we prep right now? And Robin, maybe we do have some leftover pizza if you two are still hungry. If you maybe want to, I don't know if you want it cold or warm it up in the oven. You're old enough to take care of that.
Yeah, I can handle pizza.
In the small consciousness that remains within Chris, the moment that she is handed over to Moth and Robin's mom, you can't quite call it a thought because they're flowers, but there is this sensation of, oh, I remember you.
I think Moth just kind of looks over at Robin, and then like when her mom's like out of the room, fully out of the room, she just like engulfs her with a hug, and like kind of says like, "Thank you for taking me on an adventure. That was nice." Right? And then like she just starts crying. Like full blown just starts like wailing because it was like she just got a friend. She just got somebody who she like resembles as mom, and like immediately taken away from her, and like she only has her sister. So I think she's just like wraps her arms around her and then just like sobs into her like witch's outfit like immediately.
Snot everywhere. As little kids don't cry very.
Oh no, it's full like bubbles
demurely.
coming
Yeah.
out,
Like
those ghibli giant
It's
tears.
disgusting, y'all.
Absolutely.
like full blown
But-
like hyperventilating.
So why don't we go around, now that you've had some time to hopefully think about it, what those moments and memories are as we start to conclude our story.
I guess, yeah, Chris, if you wanna.
I
Yeah.
don't want to cry anymore. Jesus Christ.
So, within their little consciousness, what remains of it, I think two things really resonate. Because this was all new experiences. This was all incredibly new. Some aspects of it were familiar. And in a way, this did feel like coming to a proper home. They will remember that first step out of their meadow and learning about what fear is, learning about danger and taking first steps and having to move on from the familiar and the comfortable and the sunshine and all the things that had been home. The second memory is the last one, watching Trinket, sword held high, armor on, being brave, because you need to understand being afraid to be brave. And so those two emotions, those two moments resonate in this circle that they have experienced, going from the familiar to the scary to the familiar again, but now grown, now something new, something more than they ever were before.
Beautiful moments.
It's crying.
Who's able to go next?
I'm sorry. I'm a fucking wreck.
This is savage, dude. This is the worst time so far.
I will go next.
You said above table. You said tears. Okay,
No,
here
this is
it
great.
is.
Right.
I'm having the best time.
Right. This is so fun.
I think part of me, honestly, part of me really, really wants Trinket to go last.
Oh,
This
last?
is
You want
off.
to go last?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll go last.
That's emotional wreckage. I love it.
because we're gonna. I know we're going to start crying right after that. So, so I'll go. I think she first remembers like the bad, scary one, right? Because she got both a good one and a bad one, and she remembers like the it's more like flashes just of everything that happened that was really awful and scary. Like she remembers Moth getting tangled up in the pokey vines. She remembers realizing what the witch in the cottage was doing and realizing what Charlie was. She remembers running a lot. Running away from the cottage, running through the woods, running from the fiend after they finally kind of encountered them, and then running away from Trinket and home. And then she kind of looks around and she sees Moth and she sees Mom carrying the flowers out to where they're going to put them, and she also thinks of like Trinket's last words to them and kind of like what she did. And I think like her takeaway, like her good her learned memory from this is now remembering Trinket and her putting themselves in front of the other two and kind of trying to be brave even though they were both very, very freaking scared the whole time. And kind of it's more like resolve, where it's like, well, Trinket isn't here because she's got more important things to do. to help, she has to keep helping, and realizes in a way she has to do the same but with these two. And kind of resolves herself to, hey, if I could be brave in there, this is fine. This is gonna be fine. I can be brave out here.
Right. Moth.
I hate it. I hate it so much. I think Moth, the one memory and moment that she will forever take away from this is when Trinket like put herself in the line of fire for her, and like, because it doesn't happen in her real life, so when it did happen, it was just like, someone cares about me, and that's so weird, and but it's nice, and like kind of almost hoping and thinking and wanting perhaps for like, it's gonna sound weird, but like almost wanting to put herself in that position where like she can help people like Trinket helped her, and like monitor other people's emotions. Like Trinket helped monitor hers, and it like hurts her every single time she remembers that memory, because it's just like, I will never get Trinket back, but like I can look at the God, this is gonna sound so sad, but it's just like she can almost like sit at the edge of the forest where they were and like look out at it and like hope that she appears. Um to kind of like, it's almost like a weird guardian type of a situation where she like hopes that like she protects her and guards her, she can like have all the lessons from her. But that seared memory of her just in battle stance, ready to protect, ready to fight, ready to do anything for her, is like the one thing that she's just like, she was the bomb, dude. um and then the second memory would, oh, it's gonna be sadder, probably seeing Chris for the first time. um because immediately knowing that like they're meant to be my best friend, um and not knowing the boundaries of that, but like having Chris be there, having Chris like hold her hand, having Chris um like go along with it, and knowing, even like though like Moth hadn't really talked to her like them about it like a lot, it was kind of just like a, I know they're going through a lot, but I think they're going through almost the same as me, and I want to be there for them to hold their hand as much as possible. And now, like Moth can't do that anymore, so um, it she like she'll always remember the way that Chris looked, and just this beautiful flower in the meadow, and wanting them to experience the world. Um, yeah, because like I think to Moth too, it kind of felt like a light was shining down on them. Like again, that was meant to be my best friend, and my best friend shines brighter than anybody else. Like kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, hate this.
That was great. Fantastic. Awesome. Love it.
All right,
Mm.
Trinket, rip us apart.
Oh
Bring it
man,
home.
man.
Forget.
So I think I think holding up that mirror and watching those kids run home was both the best she's ever felt and the worst she's ever felt. It is the constant letting go of an adult who cares for children that is just timeless and immortal, and it's like grieving while feeling proud, and it's the strangest mix. And she stands at that shoreline looking at the fiend until the fiend gives up, like until the fiend recognizes the children are not there anymore, they made it out, you lost. And Trinket is standing there with her key in hand, like, I'm gonna make sure you keep fucking losing. And I think she arms herself with the memories of these kids because she gave up the one that she had been holding on to for so long, and she fills up all of that space with these kids. She'll take her mirror, and that's her moth mirror. She will not forget this name. This is her weapon. She uses it every time that she needs to shine light on dark spaces, and she remembers when Moth used it so bravely, and she tries to do it half as well. She has her Chris key, her wind up key, that she uses as her main sword, and it's a reminder to decide who you want to be. That was Chris's entire existence, was figuring out how to decide who I am and how to decide what the world means to me. And seeing her choose family meant a lot to Trinket, and so she wields that like a weapon. And of course, she has her witchy little shears, her robin shears. that she stole from Bishop in the boiler room, that she had used helping Robin cut away these brambles, and something that Robin was always doing was helping other people. Was the first person to visibly look like she didn't want to do it and offer anyway. And I think that also sticks with Trinket very deeply. She spends her time running through the forests, hunting down the fiend, and every time she comes across anyone who seems a little lost, is hell-bent on getting them home, hell-bent on making sure they know that there is someone out there who will protect them because they deserve it, and it's natural and it's not hard. And I think her main memory that she takes away is how she was standing in front of Moth, almost like chastising and taunting the fiend, saying, you can't do anything, you're nothing, you're not worth the fear you're causing. And the fiend didn't kill her, the fiend didn't lay a single bramble on those children, and she realizes that fear only has the power that you give it, and she refuses to give it anymore if it's going to keep taking kids. So she becomes just like the guardian of the forest, and is always hopping from branch to branch, dancing with the fairies, delighting in the wonders that are the world, acknowledging that there's still darkness, but knowing that the love that she had for these kids who made her brave. Ooh, nope, keep it together. is, is what is going to get more kids home. Like, she found her purpose through these kids, and it becomes who she is in the best way. Um, and that's all I can say, Your Honor. I'm gonna break down.
So the scene pulls out as we go across various moments and vignettes. Underneath the back porch of Robin's and Moss' home, there's a little stone with moss and a larger stone with less moss, and a tiny little garden snail just trailing across.
Get off my
Beyond the
lawn.
fencing,
One more word, Your Honor.
My lawn.
I think after Moth finishes crying and they've had a little bit of time to mentally process and go through all of the thoughts that they just went through, and Moth goes out to help Mom, put in Chris nice and comfortable. She steps outside as well, but she grabs the hex stone. Um,
yeah, okay.
and Chris turned back into a plant, and so she's not expecting anything to happen, and like she partially just wanted to make sure she still had it. But she will try anyways, to because Charlie said to you know summon him with it. She just wants to see if anything happens, but she knows it's childish and dumb to hope that it does, but she can't help but do it anyways.
All right. So we'll include that as part of our vignettes too. So we pan away from Robin. We now see just a couple doors down a house that was once for sales, now sale sign gone, lavender in the garden, and a scarecrow missing his head is being taken down by a boy, maybe 12, 13, just motioning off the clothing and getting the stalks down, catching someone across the way kind of weirdly looking at a stone, and just does a little awkward wave before going inside for the night. We catch on fencing paintings of fairies dancing, one looking familiar. We hear barks of dogs, a mama and a papa with 3 little pups rambunctiously running about, and their owners trying to get them inside. But the kids are too exciting for them to not be running around and making a muck. And just in the backwoods behind the houses and the stream, you see this lost toy of a boat just gently going down. And then there's just a really loud caw as a raven is desperately trying to play with a forgotten costume powder blue hat. And that is our story. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining me on this, especially my players for making such a beautiful fairy tale with me here on Girls Runs These Worlds. Of course, before we close off, we must introduce ourselves for the final time in this chapter, at least in this game. So why don't we start with someone who isn't about to break down and cry right now?
That's none of us. So
Yeah.
That's so
Who wants to get it over with so they can break down and cry?
hi, I'm Rosie. I'm Rosie, Sweet Rosie B, just about everywhere on the internet. She, they pronouns. You can find all of my details over on sweetrosieb.com. This week, I will be tomorrow twice. Once on my channel, I will be hosting part 3 of our season finale for Where the Gods Once Tread. This is our level up raid. We've already had 2 parts, one of which is happening right now. And then tomorrow we will have the final 2 installments of that finale, one of which on my channel, and then one of which I am DMing over on Siwa Pyra's channel. That is all I have going on right now this week. Do catch me at PAX Unplugged. I'll be hosting a panel. What the heck is a West March? Go and find out. We'll be talking all about West March campaigns, what they are, how they're run, how we run one. And that's all I've got going on. Someone else talk so I can cry.
I'll go next, I guess. Hi, I'm Insha. I'm going to sue Natalie for damages.
This last hour has been you guys.
I'm at Instagram with 2 eyes on Instagram, Night of the Fits on Twitter, Night of the Living Fits on Letterboxd. You can find me anywhere on the internet if you want, and I'm not a crying mess. But yeah, if you see me around, I'll be at PAX Unplugged, just kind of like walking, doing some stuff. I may be by like the Wee Crowing Hens thing. So yeah. Ooh, buddy.
All right, thank you.
I love it. That was great. You did great. Hello, everybody. Again, I'm not usually like this. I promise. But this is my first time ever, like actually, like tearing up on stream, and I've been doing this for a very long time. So, hats off to you know, our beautiful, lovely, amazing storyteller. And all of the players too, because half of the time I think we were making each other like sad for no reason. So
For good reason.
yeah.
Good
It was
reason.
the
Not no
best
reason, good reason.
Okay. So there you go. That's that. First time for everything. But my name is Yuri. That is Yuri, pronouns she, they. You guys can go ahead and find me over at Yuri and the Beast. Absolutely anywhere. I am the most kind of there on the internet on Threads. I do a lot of stuff. But right now, the 2 main things, I am part of Ain't Got Crits Philly by Night campaign for their Anarch coterie, who we just came back from hiatus, and it's a huge thing with 3 tables and loads of players, and it is amazing. And I play she's a bitch. She's really mean and she doesn't give a shit. So if you want to see me in a completely different context, being a vampire and luring knowing men to their doom, go ahead and check that out. Somebody just exploded a stadium and it's totally nothing bad. Nothing bad's happening. And then also I am playing Morwen Sanatori, the high elf wizard necromancer, totally not a lich, over at Somebody's Heroes for the Falataliva campaign, which is also a multi-table campaign. When there's, I think, almost 60 of us taking part from all over. I am part of the main cast of the Raven Court, so my vignette, our personal vignettes are coming out. Mine came out a little bit ago. Go check that out. It's insanity. The creator is letting all of us kind of make it up as we go. So it's real crazy. Those are the two main things. I'm always over on World D5. I'm always over guesting on a lot of channels. So just check out my threads if you want to see what I'm doing. Um, but thank you again to all of you for taking me through this journey and going through this journey with me. And yeah, I ran out of things to say, so that's the thing.
Right. Neto.
Howdy, darlings. I am Meadow. I have been Meadow, and I will continue to be Meadow if everything works out according to plan. Unlike unlike Yuri, I cry at the end of every campaign, so I'm like, I don't know what the big deal is. I cry all the time. I cry nonstop. You can find me at Howdy Love Darlin or Howdy Love Darlin GM all across everywhere. Upcoming on alternating Wednesdays and Sundays, I'm in a Code Lyoko Glitter Hearts campaign over at Records of the Realms. It's pure queer panic and a lot of like magical girl references. So if that's your vibe, I would love to have you. And also, I am participating in a mini art campaign of Somebody's Heroes that starts going live 2 weeks. So I can't wait to see you over there. It's full of lovely people who tell great stories and really lean into the seat of your pants vibe. So I really like being there. And more to come. But thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you so much to us for being here and being us. That was so much fun. And I would apologize for crying, but it happens literally every time. So
Don't apologize for crying.
No apologies.
if you
that
watch
story.
anything else I'm in, it's gonna get real familiar looking. And thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure based on some of my favorite media. So this was such a personal joy, and I'm really glad that I got to share that personal joy with a table of wonderfully talented people. Thank you, Your Honor. That is my time.
Nice, thank
Oh,
you.
I forgot to mention as well. Like, I'm also gonna be at PAX Unplugged, so
Oh, me too.
I'm gonna be. All of us are. Yay! So if
Natalie,
you
come
want,
talk.
I'm handing out.
Hey, if you
Like,
like me, support me on Ko-Fi. And maybe we'll
Support
do the
Nat on Ko-Fi,
skeleton
please.
party.
Let's
We'll do
get
the
Nat
skeleton
one
one
shot
here.
at
It's
PAX.
expensive.
Yeah.
But I will be walking around and handing out dice and stuff as well. I will be posting pictures of my fit every day, so y'all can find me. I want to meet everybody. I want to meet you guys in person now that I know you're gonna be there. And yeah, okay, I will be quiet for real this time.
I guess it's me. Hello, my name is Natalie. I've been the narrator for this adventure for this final time tonight. And you can find me most places on the internet with Ghost Candle or Ghostly Candle on Twitch and YouTube. I am sadly not going to PAX, but if you're at Big Bad Con or just San Fran area this weekend, I am going to be there. So say hi to me. I'll have some stickers and stuff on me to hand out. So if you see me, say hi. I can give you a sticker. And what I'm up to, well, just follow me on socials and you'll see what I do. But other than that, we are going to close out. We got some closing announcements and our raid to do, so let's get through that so we may all cry. Wednesday from 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can join the Sapphics of Luck as they beat the real life forces of hurricane season for the first time all month. Thursdays, 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern, Fantasy by Moonlight. The magical girls of Fantasy Vancouver are drawing dangerously close to the web of secrets and the magical girl serial killer. So that's our current games going on now that we're done. But if you are someone who wants to pitch a game, be on the lookout for our forums on the Girls Runs These World socials. We're always welcome to bringing in new stories, new individuals who want to tell stories with us that we can showcase your talents. The first time I ever DM'd on stream was here. So there you go. Don't be afraid to apply. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Girls Runs These Worlds wants to support you in that. Now let's go into our raid. I've been told, and hopefully I say this right because my fangs are hurting. We're going to raid Escalia. I believe I said that right. Escalia. So please hang around, and when you pop in, say skeleton party. Skeleton party. Bye, everyone.